Rising Damp, 1974 to 1978, is one of Britain's most beloved sitcoms, known for its sharp wit, unforgettable characters, and satirical look at class and race in post-war Britain. But what happened to the stars behind the iconic roles? From Leonard Rossiter's unforgettable turn as the miserly Rigby to the early promise and tragic loss of Richard Beckansale, and the continued careers of legends like Don Warrington and Frances de la Tour. This is a journey through time, revisiting the cast of Rising Damp then and now. Discover who continued to shine, who left us too soon, and how their lives unfolded after the boarding house doors closed. Don Warrington portrayed Philip Smith in Rising Damp, 1974, when he was just 22 years old. Philip is smooth-talking, eloquent, and self-assured, a young black man who delights in unsettling the narrow-minded landlord, Rigby, with exaggerated tales of being the son of an African chief. Behind the humor, Philip's character challenges the casual racism and class assumptions of 1970s Britain, using intellect and calm confidence as his greatest weapons. His interactions with the other tenants reveal layers of irony, wisdom, and subtle rebellion. Don Warrington was born in 1952 in Trinidad before moving to England at a young age. His breakout role in Rising Damp made him one of the first black actors to gain major recognition in British sitcom history. He later had a long and diverse career in television, Death in Paradise, Doctor Who, theater, including Shakespearean roles, and radio. Known for his rich voice and dignified presence, Warrington has remained a respected figure in British arts. As of 2025, he is 73 years old, and continues to perform with grace and authority. Frances de la Tour portrayed Ruth Jones in Rising Damp, 1974, when she was 30 years old. Ruth is a refined and intelligent spinster who teaches at a local school and rents a room in Rigby's rundown building. She dreams of intellectual companionship and romance, often finding herself the unwilling object of Rigby's clumsy courtship. Frances de la Tour brought subtle strength and vulnerability to Ruth, portraying a woman torn between social convention and personal longing. The character's dignity and independence quietly challenged stereotypes of women on TV in the 1970s. Born on July 30, 1944, in Hertfordshire, England, Frances de la Tour is a graduate of London's Drama Centre and a celebrated stage actress. She earned acclaim for roles with the Royal Shakespeare Company and won several Olivier Awards. She gained international fame as Madame Maxime in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and as the sharp-tongued headmistress in The History Boys. As of 2025, she is 80 years old and remains revered for her distinguished contributions to both theater and screen. Leonard Rossiter portrayed Rupert Rigby in Rising Damp, 1974, at the age of 48. Rigby is the curmudgeonly, socially awkward landlord of a shabby boarding house. Bigoted, cheap, and delusional, he constantly tries to assert authority over his tenants, particularly Philip, whose intelligence and charisma leave Rigby baffled. He harbors hopeless feelings for tenant Ruth, but his outdated views and comic insecurities doom his efforts. Leonard Rossiter's razor-sharp timing and expressive face made Rigby one of the most iconic comic figures in British television. Born on October 21, 1926 in Liverpool, Rossiter began his career on stage before finding fame in television with both Rising Damp and The Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin. His intense work ethic and energy were widely admired. Tragically, on October 5, 1984, Rossiter died suddenly of a heart attack at the age of 57 while waiting to perform on stage in London. His death shocked the nation and robbed comedy of one of its finest talents. Gabrielle Rose portrayed Brenda in Rising Damp in 1975 when she was 21 years old. Brenda appears briefly in the series as a young, lively woman who becomes a romantic interest for Allan. Her presence adds energy and youth to the otherwise tense atmosphere of the boarding house. Though her role was minor, Gabrielle Rose brought charm and vitality to the character, capturing attention despite limited screen time. Born in 1954 in Canada, Rose would go on to become a prolific and respected actress in Canadian film, television, and theater. Known for her emotional range and commanding presence, she has starred in acclaimed films such as The Sweet Hereafter, The Five Senses, and Maudie. She also built a successful television career with appearances in series like Once Upon a Time and The Man in the High Castle. As of 2025, Gabrielle Rose is 71 years old and remains active in the arts, widely regarded as one of Canada's finest character actresses. Richard Beckansale portrayed Allan Moore in Rising Damp, 1974, when he was 27 years old. Allan is a sweet-natured, slightly naive medical student who rents a room in Rigby's boarding house. Shy and polite, he often finds himself caught in the absurd dramas of his landlord and fellow tenants. Though somewhat awkward, Allan brings warmth and innocence to the series, acting as a quiet observer with occasional dry wit. Richard Beckansale's natural charm and soft-spoken delivery made Allan instantly likable, earning him widespread acclaim. Born on July 6, 1947 in Nottingham, Beckansale quickly rose to stardom in the 1970s with roles in The Lover's Porridge and Rising Damp. He was regarded as one of Britain's most promising young actors. Tragically, on March 19, 1979, Richard Beckansale died of a heart attack at just 31 years old, reportedly due to an undiagnosed congenital heart defect. His sudden death shocked the nation and left an enormous void in British television. He is remembered as a beloved talent gone far too soon, and as the father of actress Kate Beckinsale. Derek Newark portrayed Spooner in Rising Damp, 1974, when he was 41 years old. Spooner is an ex-convict and former tenant who briefly returns to the boarding house, bringing menace and tension with him. His aggressive presence contrasts sharply with the usual comedic tone, introducing a darker edge to the story. Derek Newark's performance as Spooner was both intimidating and captivating, showcasing his ability to convey intensity and unpredictability. Born on June 8, 1933, Newark trained at RADA and developed a solid stage and television career. He appeared in numerous British series, including Doctor Who, Z-Cars, and The Avengers, often portraying tough or villainous roles. He was also a founding member of the Royal National Theatre under Laurence Olivier. Sadly, Derek Newark died on August 11, 1998, at the age of 65, from complications related to AIDS. Though his name may be lesser known today, his contributions to British drama and television left a lasting legacy of strong, forceful performances. Peter Jeffrey portrayed Ambrose in Rising Damp, 1978, when he was 49 years old. Ambrose is a pompous, verbose academic whose arrival at the boarding house threatens Rigby's fragile self-esteem. With his grandiose manner and smug intellect, Ambrose represents the kind of upper-class arrogance that Rigby both envies and despises. Peter Jeffrey delivered the role with theatrical flair and impeccable timing. Born on April 18, 1929 in Bristol, Jeffrey was a highly respected character actor with a powerful stage and screen presence. He worked extensively with the Royal Shakespeare Company and National Theatre, earning acclaim for classical roles. On television, he was seen in Doctor Who, If, The Avengers, and Yes, Minister. His film credits include The Return of the Pink Panther and Midnight Express. Peter Jeffrey passed away on December 25, 1999, at the age of 70. The cause of death was undisclosed. He left behind a rich legacy of bold, intelligent performances across genres and decades. Deborah Watling portrayed Lorna in Rising Damp in 1978, when she was 30 years old. Lorna is a spirited and flirtatious young woman who briefly disrupts the routines of the boarding house. Her energy and allure add a burst of liveliness to the show's final season. Deborah Watling brought a playful charm to the role, which resonated with fans of her earlier work. Born on January 2, 1948 in London, Watling came from a theatrical family and began acting as a child. She rose to fame as Victoria Waterfield, companion to the second Doctor in Doctor Who from 1967 to 1968. Though her time on Doctor Who was brief, it cemented her place in British sci-fi history. She continued acting in theater, film, and television throughout the 1970s and 1980s. Later in life, she remained active in fan conventions and retrospectives. Deborah Watling died of lung cancer on July 21, 2017, at the age of 69. She is remembered for her youthful spirit and beloved role in one of Britain's most iconic series. Henry McGee portrayed Seymour in Rising Damp, 1975, when he was 47 years old. Seymour appears as a well-dressed, no-nonsense official who becomes entangled in Rigby's usual web of suspicion and insecurity. Though only featured in one episode, McGee's crisp delivery and authoritative air lent the character a satirical charm. Known for playing straight-faced roles opposite chaotic personalities, Henry McGee was a master of understated comedy. Born on May 14, 1928 in South Kensington, London, he gained national recognition as the long-suffering announcer and sidekick to Benny Hill on The Benny Hill Show. McGee's talents extended beyond comedy. He had a strong theater background and took on serious roles in series such as Callan, The Avengers, and Rumpole of the Bailey. He continued to work into the 1990s, known for his professionalism and versatility. Henry McGee passed away on January 28, 2006, at the age of 77 due to complications from Alzheimer's disease. He is fondly remembered for his impeccable comic timing and gentlemanly screen presence. George Sewell portrayed Baker in Rising Damp, 1975, when he was 51 years old. Baker is a stern and somewhat abrasive figure, a straight-talking character who disrupts the usual balance in Rigby's lodgings. George Sewell brought an authoritative air to the role, drawing on his trademark intensity and gravelly charm. Born on August 31, 1924, in London, Sewell had a rugged, everyman screen presence that made him a staple of British crime dramas and thrillers. After working as an aircraft engineer and merchant seaman, he entered acting in his 30s, later starring in Special Branch, UFO, and The Sweeney. His film roles included Get Carter and This Sporting Life. With his world-weary face and direct style, he was often cast as tough cops, soldiers, or gangsters. George Sewell died on April 2, 2007, at the age of 82 from cancer. His long career left behind a rich gallery of hardened but human characters, etched into the fabric of British screen history. Norman Bird portrayed the vicar in Rising Damp, 1975, when he was 51 years old. The vicar appears briefly as a kindly but somewhat baffled clergyman drawn into the awkward social entanglements of Rigby's tenants. With his soft-spoken tone and gentle presence, Norman Bird gave the character an understated dignity that contrasted with the surrounding absurdity. Born on October 30, 1924, in Colville, Leicestershire, Bird was a prolific character actor whose career spanned over 4 decades. He appeared in over 200 television and film roles, including The Saint, Wurzel Gummidge, and Some Mothers Do Avum, often playing mild-mannered clerks, vicars, or middle-aged officials. His film work included The Angry Silence and Whistle Down the Wind. Known for his modest yet deeply expressive style, he brought realism to even the smallest parts. Norman Bird passed away on April 22, 2005, at the age of 80. Though never a household name, he was widely respected within the industry for his consistency, versatility, and professionalism. Avis Bunnage portrayed Veronica in Rising Damp, 1978, when she was 55 years old. Veronica is a no-nonsense, strong-willed woman who briefly enters the chaotic world of Rigby's boarding house, bringing a brash energy and sharp tongue that unsettle the usual power dynamics. Avis Bunnage portrayed her with earthy humor and confident realism, making the character feel instantly lived in and authentic. Born on April 22, 1923 in Manchester, Bunnage was a versatile stage and screen actress known for her work with Joan Littlewood's theatre workshop. She gained wide recognition in the original London production of A Taste of Honey and appeared in films such as Saturday Night and Sunday Morning. On television, she was seen in Coronation Street, Z-Cars, and Within These Walls, often playing working-class matriarchs or feisty, no-nonsense women. Avis Bunnage died on October 4, 1990, at the age of 67. Though the cause of death was not publicly disclosed, she remains respected for her contributions to British theatre and her strong, grounded screen performances. George A. Cooper portrayed Cooper in Rising Damp, 1975, when he was 50 years old. Cooper is a gruff and weary workman who appears briefly in the series, embodying the kind of blue-collar realism often found in 1970s British comedy. With his deadpan delivery and weathered demeanor, George A. Cooper gave the character a dry authenticity. Born on March 7, 1925 in Leeds, Cooper enjoyed a long career in film, theatre, and television. He was perhaps best known to younger audiences as the strict caretaker Mr. Griffiths in Grange Hill, a role he played for over a decade. He also appeared in classic shows like The Sweeney, The Saint, Doctor Who, and Coronation Street, often cast as tough, working-class characters. He retired from acting in the early 1990s. George A. Cooper passed away on November 16, 2018, at the age of 93. Though largely a character actor, his presence brought depth and realism to every role, earning him quiet admiration across generations. Fanny Row portrayed Mother in Rising Damp, 1978, when she was 65 years old. In her brief appearance as Rigsby's mother, she embodied the kind of domineering, old-fashioned woman who helps explain her son's peculiar worldview. With a no-nonsense attitude and tight-lipped delivery, Fanny Row gave the character a mix of austerity and dry humor. Born on June 26, 1913, in West Sussex, England, Row had a distinguished stage and television career. She worked extensively in theatre, including with the Old Vic and West End productions, and appeared on screen in the Forsyte Saga, The Pallisers, and The Jewel in The Crown. Often cast as aristocratic or matriarchal figures, she brought elegance and discipline to her roles. She was also married to actor Geoffrey Keane. Fanny Row passed away on July 31, 1988, at the age of 75. Though not a household name, she was admired within the acting community for her classical training and ability to command scenes with quiet authority. Andrew Saxs portrayed Snell in Rising Damp, 1978, when he was 48 years old. Snell is a quiet, slightly odd character who makes a brief but memorable appearance, adding to the show's mix of eccentrics. Andrew Saxs, with his expressive face and soft comic touch, played the role with subtlety and precision. Born on April 7, 1930, in Berlin, Germany, Saxs fled Nazi persecution with his family and settled in England as a child. He found fame as Manuel, the endearing Spanish waiter in Fawlty Towers, 1975 to 1979, a role that became one of the most iconic in British comedy history. Beyond that, he had a long career in radio, drama, and voice work, including narrations and audiobook recordings. Later in life, he appeared in shows like Coronation Street and Doctors. Andrew Saxs passed away on November 23, 2016, at the age of 86, after battling vascular dementia. He is remembered with deep affection for his gentle spirit and comic genius. Peter Bowles portrayed Hilary in Rising Damp, 1977, when he was 41 years old. Hilary is a suave and self-assured character who arrives at the boarding house exuding charm and upper-class sophistication, unnerving Rigsby and amusing the other tenants. With his elegant voice and smooth delivery, Peter Bowles played the role with trademark polish and comedic flair. Born on October 16, 1936 in London, Bowles built his career on portraying debonair figures and refined rogues. He rose to fame in sitcoms like To the Manor Born, The Bounder, and Executive Stress, becoming one of Britain's most beloved comedic actors. In addition to television, he appeared on stage with the Royal Shakespeare Company and in films such as Blow Up and The Bank Job. Peter Bowles passed away on March 17, 2022, at the age of 85, following a battle with cancer. His performances, always marked by wit, charm, and elegance, left a lasting imprint on British entertainment across generations. Joan Sanderson portrayed Mother in Rising Damp, 1978, when she was 65 years old. Appearing in a later episode of the series as Rigsby's mother, in a recasting of the role, Joan Sanderson brought her signature blend of strictness and comic timing to the part. With an air of cold propriety and stern judgment, her portrayal added sharp insight into Rigsby's stifled upbringing and insecurities. Born on November 24, 1912, in Bristol, Sanderson was a veteran stage and television actress known for her impeccable comic delivery. She gained fame in roles such as the formidable Miss Edison in Please Sir and the snobbish hotel guest Mrs. Richards in the classic Fawlty Towers episode Communication Problems, 1979. Her career spanned everything from Shakespeare to sitcoms, always marked by her commanding voice and crisp precision. Joan Sanderson passed away on May 24, 1992, at the age of 79. She remains fondly remembered for her memorable, often fearsome characters, delivered with wit and ironclad timing. Elizabeth Adair portrayed Lucy in Rising Damp, 1975, when she was 26 years old. Lucy is a confident and well-spoken young woman whose presence in the boarding house challenges Rigsby's outdated assumptions about gender and race. Elizabeth Adair brought poise and intelligence to the role, standing out despite her brief screen time. Born on June 3, 1949, in Newcastle, England, Adair rose to prominence in the 1970s, most notably as telepathic secret agent Elizabeth in the cult sci-fi series The Tomorrow People, 1973 to 1979. Her calm strength and charismatic presence made her a trailblazer for black actresses in British television. After stepping away from acting in the 1980s, she built a second career as a child psychologist and later became a director of children's services in London. As of 2025, Elizabeth Adair is 76 years old and remains admired for both her pioneering screen roles and her contributions to public service and education. Ian Lavender portrayed Platt in Rising Damp, 1975, when he was 29 years old. Platt is a nervous, awkward young man who briefly rents a room at Rigsby's boarding house, becoming another target for the landlord's suspicions. Lavender infused the character with twitchy charm and comedic unease. Born on February 16, 1946 in Birmingham, Ian Lavender became a household name in Britain as Private Pike in Dad's Army, 1968 to 1977, where his youthful innocence and high-pitched nervousness made him a fan favorite. After Dad's Army, he worked extensively in television, including appearances in EastEnders, Yes Minister, and theater productions around the UK. Despite suffering serious health problems in later life, including cancer and a heart attack, he continued to appear at conventions and reunions, deeply loved by generations of British TV fans. Ian Lavender passed away on February 2, 2024, at the age of 77. His legacy lives on in one of the most beloved sitcoms in British history and in his many other heartfelt performances. Anthony Sharp portrayed Colonel Devere Brown in Rising Damp, 1975, when he was 60 years old. The colonel is a blustering, upper-class military man whose arrival at the boarding house throws Rigsby into a mix of admiration and inferiority. With clipped tones and pompous airs, the character represents British tradition and outdated social hierarchy. Anthony Sharp played him to perfection, with a theatrical flair that added comedic exaggeration. Born on June 16, 1915, in London, Sharp trained at RADA and became known for portraying aristocrats, judges, and officers, often delivering lines with icy disdain or inflated self-importance. He appeared in films such as A Clockwork Orange, 1971, Barry Lyndon, 1975, and The Return of the Pink Panther, and was a regular presence in British television dramas. Off-screen, he also directed for stage and radio. Anthony Sharp passed away on July 23, 1984, at the age of 69. Though often cast in type, he elevated every role with his crisp articulation and masterful presence. Who is your favorite character from Rising Damp? How do you feel knowing that some cast members are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated. We appreciate your support and are glad to have you as part of our community.